Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Rick Reads Comics. We're still going through House of X and Powers of X, which I keep calling Powers of X. It's actually called Powers of 10. I know that, but I forget. But anyway, we did Powers of 10, issue number 3, last week. And now we're going to keep going. And we're back in House of X number 3. And we're reading them out of here. And this is like, it's collecting all the issues. It's giving us them in chapters. So we are technically on. Let me see. So there's chapter 3. This is House of X number 2. Let's keep going. So we did 2 issues of Powers of 10 after this. Powers of 10, right here, number 2, I believe. There's been a ton of stuff that's happening, and it's kind of hard to follow sometimes, but the story is starting to become a little more clear as we keep going. So it's kind of good. Okay, here's what we did last week is Power. If you didn't watch it yet and you want to go back, it's Powers of 10, issue number 3. I have a video on it. This is what you do, and it's chapter 5. So now today we're going to be on chapter 6. And there you go, just to give you a little bit of a what happened before. It was the end of the 9th life of Moira 10. And now here we are. So in the thumbnail, you saw the full color of this. This is chapter 6. It's Once More Unto the Breach. And it's House of X, issue number 3. All right. And that's a pretty good shot with the big Astro Mode in the background and Wolverine and Cyclops. Marvel Girl, or Jean Grey, Nightcrawler, and then the others. Archangel, Rogue, I guess. I'm not too sure who that is. Okay, let's jump in. Krakoa. It's done. I've assembled a team, good mutants all, who accept the mission for what it is. They understand both the stakes and the risk. They understand and embrace it. Such a brave face you're wearing for me, but I can hear the fear in your mind, Scott. Is it wrong that I'm afraid, that I have doubts? Of course not. You've always been that way. What matters is that you overcome it, and you do so for your family. You make me so proud. And let me put your fears to rest, my son. You're not going to die. I won't allow it. For the righteous can never truly die. They live on, transformed into something immortal by their mighty works. For you to die, you would have to be forgotten. And no one forgets a founder of a nation. Time to go. Okay, so they're getting ready for a big mission. And I'm interested to see how this is going to connect to what we just finished in Powers of 10, number 3. So Cyclops got his team ready. All right, apparently a group of rogue human scientists called Orcus is building the ultimate master mode, a mother mode, in orbit around the sun. We have to destroy it before it comes online. And while sure, the hell of a nightmare machine that produces mutant death factories is some bad news, the real danger here is that we think it's going to lead to a technological paradigm shift, a Nimrod. So off we go. But be advised, we won't be taking any Krakoan fauna with us, which means there's not going to be a getaway home. Not going to be a gateway home. We have to get in, get out, and get home the old-fashioned way. All right, so just look at his team real quick. We have Wolverine. I'm not too sure who this is. There's Archangel. Not too sure who that is. There's Jean Grey, Marvel Girl, Nightcrawler, and Mystique. So let's see how this is going to go. I don't get it. Why no plants? Yeah, call me crazy, but it seems like a good idea, having an emergency way home. That's because you're only thinking of success, not planning for failure. What if the mother mode AI gets a good hard look at what we're doing here on Krakoa? How all of this works? Who knows, maybe they find something we haven't. Exactly. Monet. Okay, Monet. Monet. So we can't risk it. So no plants. Got it, everyone? Are you listening, Mystique? My ears work fine, Summers. What about and then, Okay, I guess that's just the shine of the light. I was thinking maybe she's using her powers, but who knows? What about the human crew? The mission is to stop the mother mode, no matter what. But we want to keep casualties to as close to zero as possible. The station has a long term capacity of just over 3,000, so there are probably a lot of innocent civilians alongside whatever security they have. Innocent civilians don't build machines to exterminate a species, Slim. They're not soldiers in the war, Logan. They're just scientists scared of their own future. Dang, the drawing of Wolverine looks real good. The art in all these books are really nice. I really like it. And the colors, good job, everybody. Which reminds me, I haven't done the credits in a while. Maybe at the end. All right, punching it. And they take off. And I guess they were on the moon base. Just scientists, huh? How exactly do you think humans went from sticks to bombs? Okay, and we got our first information panel. All these books have a little bit of information mixed in, and it gives a little bit on it. Each areas of the story, I guess, whatever's important to the story. So we have machines, Sentinel to Nimrod progression. Sentinel, Alpha, non sentient, mutant hunting robots based on non replicating adaptive technology, Mark 1 through Mark 8. Then we got Master Mode, a replicating, adaptive, fixed or mobile Sentinel factory that is self aware and capable of creating Sentinel drones. Then we have Mother Mode, a replicating, adaptive Sentinel factory that is self aware and capable of creating master modes, while a master mode is incapable of improving beyond its ultimate Sentinel state. It's theorized that, given enough time, a Mother Mode is capable of producing purely adaptable machines based on nano Sentinel technology. And then you have an Omega Sentinel, a human infected with nano Sentinel technology and progressively transformed from human to machine. See the Omega cycle. And then you have Nimrod, a pure nano Sentinel construct, anti mutant, adaptive, self aware, self replicating, virtually indestructible. And we see Nimrod in Powers of 10. A Nimrod is an end state, nano Sentinel construct. Moira 10 has learned that while emergent AIs are unavoidable, an anti mutant Nimrod is not. It is a product of a particular intent manufactured for a purpose. Moira 10 and Apocalypse theorize that a Nimrod is the primal threat to the long term survival of mutants. Moira and Apocalypse attempt to acquire the information surrounding Nimrod's origin. Apocalypse acquires the incomplete Nimrod origin files. Nimrod origin files imply that raw developmental processing power necessary to produce a Nimrod is entirely dependent on certain technology thresholds being reached. A Nimrod almost always occurs in conjunction with, resulting from a mother mode. Moira dies. Moira reincarnates. So this is all what happened at the end of Powers of 10, number 3. And Moira died at the end of that issue. Just spoiler, but you can go back and check it out. And then she's reincarnated because that's what Moira's power is. She keeps reincarnating with her memories intact. So then it goes Moira and Charles Xavier task several mutant technopaths with creating a system, Sleeping Giant, to monitor for Nimrod technological thresholds being reached and or the attempted creation of a mother mode. Orcus protocol is enacted. Moira and Charles Xavier discover Orcus through Sleeping Giant. Charles Xavier and Magneto acquire plans for the Orcus Forge, Soul's Hammer, home of a dormant but soon to be active Mother Mode. Charles Xavier and Magneto task the X-Men with destroying the Mother Mode and preventing the creation of Nimrod. And that's where we are now. Oh, that kind of caught us all up. Guess that explains what I was waiting for. Then now we have Project Achilles, Department of State, USA. Project Achilles is a superhuman, super maximum security prison built to house only a maximum of 30 superpowered criminals, the worst of the worst. Achilles has all the necessary components on site to comply with all legal and extra constitutional requirements, along with the security and judicial staff that rotates on and off site every 3 months. Once someone arrives at Achilles, they stay at Achilles until their shift is over. The only exceptions are for an external breach or a loss of containment. Civilian access and special admittance to Achilles is only possible with a dispensation from the United States Department of State. And there is an asterisk that right there, and it says civilian access. A pre-approved list of civilians, almost all immediate and extended family, is allowed access to the inmates once a year, but to date, no one has ever requested such a visit. All right, well, let's jump into this next part of the story. Project Achilles, Superhuman Supermax. This is a prison. Docket 6732D3. Only one case today, Judge. Supervillain processing. So here they are in the courtroom with the judge. All quiet on the Western Front. A.G. Tolliver. What we lack in volume, we're making up for in depravity, Your Honor. The defendant is being charged with felony breaking and entering, felony assault, felony theft, 2 counts of manslaughter, and, I swear to God, if bad manners were something I could add to the list, I would. Well, I think everyone knows how I feel about social graces. And what about you, counselor? Do you have anything to offer on behalf of your client before we begin today's processing? Just one thing, Your Honor. A motion to dismiss based on the fact that my client was an unwilling accomplice and had no idea what his companion's intents were. We'd argue you've got the wrong man. So he's stuttering a lot, so, that's why I'm stuttering. It's a good try, counselor. But unfortunately for you, we're charging your client under the government's new 12-strike rule, which, as you know, supersedes intent. So motion denied. Anything else? No? Then let's get on with it. How does your client plead? And I bet the client's Sabretooth or something. Yep, there it is. Dang, they drew him pretty good too. He spits. There they are. Oh, I'm guilty. Oh, I'm guilty meat. Phew. I definitely got bad manners. And the other charges? Yeah, I did those too. It ain't like it's gonna matter. Ain't no place ever been built that can hold me. And if we're really being honest, ain't like I'm gonna sit here and let you judge me anyway. You think chains can keep me from making your insides your outsides? Because let me tell you, they can't. You smell that? What? Jasmine. What's that mean? Means you're fired, counselor. Oh, and there is the White Queen, Emma Frost. Well, what have we here? It looks to me like the monkeys are using tools again, Miss Frost, playing at civilization. Young lady, how many times have I told you? We only use our mutant names in public, so I have to insist you call me White Queen. Yes, Mum. What's the meaning of this? I'm not sure that's the question you should be asking, as there's quite a difference between what's getting ready to happen and what it really means. Enlighten me. Well, that's certainly the correct position to assume. What's going to happen to. Let me see. What's going to happen is that you're going to surrender Mr. Creed to me. Sabretooth, Mum. Yes, thank you. Sabretooth. You're going to give him to me because, in anticipation of Krakoa becoming a sovereign nation, all Krakoans on United States soil, natural born or otherwise, now enjoy the privilege of diplomatic immunity. A recent gift from your State Department. We have all the paperwork if you need it. But it's totally cool if you leave his chains on. This isn't going to happen. It is going to happen. And as for what it means, well, it simply means we don't answer to you anymore. That thing is a killer. Just like my mama made me. And I ain't close to done. Dang, it's cheesing hard. Yes, he's a bit of a monster on that I cannot disagree. But he's our monster. And from this day forward, mutants won't be judged in human courts or by the likes of you. No, this is not how today ends. Click. Not on my watch. Normally, I dominate that little mind of yours and make you stick that gun where your last boyfriend left you. But I've been told the art of diplomacy is about equalizing power dynamics. So why don't you pretend that some larger American purpose is being served here today? And I'll pretend like you could have stopped me. Well, that was pretty good. They had a standoff there looking at each other. It's a brave new world, darlings. Let's get used to it. Dang, Emma Frost. Okay. So, Omega cycle, the next information thing. Human Omega Sentinel process. Number 1, infection. A human host is infected with nano-sentinel technology. Number 2, nesting. Self-replicating biological machines propagate in host. 3, replication. Biological machines replace existing host systems and organs. 4, dormancy. During the dormant period, the biological host is partially transformed from organic to machine. Activation. Number 5, post-dormancy transformation. A host becomes operative and is capable of activating in proximity to a mutant. And number 6, union. Post-activation. The human host becomes aware of the combined consciousness of it and the sentinel directives it has been infected with. This is almost always a prolonged process that mirrors those recovering from trauma. Number 7, adaptation. Total integration of host and machine. Number 8, omega. Total machine state. Okay, there's a cycle right there, 8 steps. And this is, I think this is like in X-Men 97, if you watch that series, when all the humans become infected with Sentinel stuff and they become Sentinels almost. I guess that's the Omega cycle happening. Just in case you've watched X-Men 97 recently. Okay, Krakoan, another information block. Upon arriving for the first time to the mutant nation state of Krakoa, a resident telepath will imprint the Krakoan language into the mind of the newly arrived mutant. Once this is done, that mutant is capable of reading, speaking, and fully understanding the Krakoan language. Krakoan was created by Douglas Ramsey to be mutantdom's first auto autochthonous language. It's important to note that Krakoan is a manufactured language, not the native language of Krakoa, the living mutant island. The language of Krakoa is untranslatable, and almost all human mutant brains are incapable of comprehending it. The only known exception is the mutant cipher. So, I guess if there's any Krakoan language written out in the rest of the book, you can come back to here and it's going to translate it for you. That's pretty cool. All right, let's jump back to the story. The Orcus Forge. You still think that this is a mistake. So here's in space, the space station, where they're actually making the mother mold, I think. Self-preservation is completely rational, Dr. Gregor. It's the panic it produces where errors get introduced. You think we're panicking? I think you built a mother mold that breeds master molds. The second you lose control, it's hard not to see the entire planetary system covered in cold, emotionless gray with not a single pink, fleshy bit in sight. After all, they know where mutants come from. It's a fair point, which is why the forge was built with these control collars. If things go south, Omega, so does she right into the heart of the sun. And how long before she wakes? Well, we could wake her up now if we wanted, but even at the exponential rate she's learning, she still has a while before we're she still has a while before we're comfortable that she's evolved past the Heller Faust line. Good. Who needs an AI that's a potential sociopath? Are you little problem up here? What is it, dear? We've got incoming. Looks like it came in from the dark side of Venus, then used the planet to slingshot toward us. We didn't even pick it up until it was 25 million miles out. Friendly? No, absolutely not. And of course, we know that's the X-Men. It's a modified Shi'ar class scout. Only one possibility of who that is: the X-Men. How do they? How could they possibly know what we're doing? Somebody talked. Somebody was listening. Maybe someone was watching the whole time. Who knows? But if they're coming, then it's pretty obvious what they're after: the mother mold. Can we stop them from getting here? Not in that bird. Long range, their countermeasures will be too good, and even though we'll unload our batteries on them when they close the distance, nothing we have is going to be able to punch through its shields. We screwed up. We were expecting to be fully online before we got their attention. So now we're going to have to repel them once they're boarded. Okay, we're on the way. No, stay there. Protect the mother. Why don't you just recall the drones from Mercury to defend the station? That's the first thing I did. Unfortunately, it's not going to matter. So there's the other normal sentinels coming back, the drones, I guess they call them. Even though we're in a fixed position between the Sun and Mercury, it's at the apex of its elliptical orbit. So they're all starting to fly back. They're coming, but they're going to arrive too late. And then she cusses a little bit, and it says, "Hey, cheer up, my love. It's just a little fight for the survival of our species. Nothing to worry about." Okay, so there they are. They start shooting. Stuff's going off. We're almost there. Send them in. Hey, Kurt. Recon. The schematics say we should be able to access the mother mode's ejection collars at these 4 locations. We need to know if the plans are correct, because right now we're planning to jump in there and pop the releases. We'll fight if we need to, but it'd be a lot easier if we knew the plans were right. Understand? Understood. And don't be so itchy, Fraulein. I'll be right back. I like Nightcrawler. He's a good character. So there he is. He bamps, bamps, bamps again. Sees him and says, "Ah, Prima, what a surprise." "Hello, Kurt. Picking sides, are we?" "Actually, that was all of you, wasn't it?" They're going to go for the control collars. "Erasmus, are you there? We've been breached. They have a teleporter. His name is Nightcrawler." "Yeah, okay, I've read his file. His powers are point to point and low yield. So they're still going to have to dock to insert any kind of sizable assault force. I moved most of our forces to the hangars. We'll meet them there and hopefully buy enough time for the drones to get here." "Okay, be careful." That's disappointing." "What?" "It's a very linear plan. And what's the for a very non-linear foe?" And then there goes the alarms or rumble. I guess something blew up or something happened. To see what the. And there they are. They docked on there. They have an Omega Sentinel in there with them. We'll deal with that when we have to. First things first. Extending the breach collar. Extending the breaching collar. Then he cusses again. Ding, ding. Psh, psh, psh. And there's all the locks. Bad news, dear. What is it? They're cutting through the hull of the station, making some kind of entrance, which is yet another failure in today's total failure of expectations. It's a good idea, even smarter than that. They're hitting the right section to access the whole station. I'm pretty sure they have plans for the station and they've planned this operation to perfection. So our only hope is to respond asymmetrically, irrationally even. What are you talking about, Rasmus? What are you doing? And then she grabs him. Oh, whatever it takes to build a better world. He's about to blow stuff up. I joked about it a lot, but do I really wish we'd had kids? No, and then be strong, love. Don't let them win. And he clicks. So he's gonna blow everything up, and they're probably gonna be in trouble. Oh no, and the whole ship blows up. Man. And that's probably where it's gonna end, on a cliffhanger. And it says, "For you to die, you would have to be forgotten. And no one forgets a founder of a nation." And that's what Magneto says to Cyclops. And that's the end. That we got left with another cliffhanger, and that kind of sucks. But we are seeing this on the cover. They're all fighting still, so maybe they're still alive. And we're going to go to House of X issue number 4 next time for chapter 7. It will be done. But that's the end for this one. Thanks for joining me. We'll see you again next time as we continue to go through House of X and Powers of 10 until we finish this. All right, later.